the story a little bit. When you got there, what did you expect? What did you see? Tell us about these kids. Just tell us the story a little bit, because nobody really, we want to live it with you. We haven't gotten there yet. I know we're all going there, but share it with us.
Well, I really wanted to go to the orphanage, and the person who was going to open the door for us was Danny Santos, who was actually your VP in marketing in the Philippines before, right? And he is part of this orphanage as a board of director. And on our way there, he was kind of like giving me an overview of what to expect. And he was saying, believe me, if you see this orphanage, you're not going to say that it is an orphanage. It's a huge property, and the building is so beautiful. So we were kind of expecting that, and it was really inside, way inside of the town, you know. It's like in a small barrio, but suddenly it opens up to a big property, and there is this huge building. And so there was a guy that opened the gate, and we were in there, and we went to the house. It was like a huge mansion. And somebody opened the door, and it was Mama Feli, who is like the house mother. And it was the kitchen right away, and these ladies were, like about 6 of them were making food, you know, a lot of food. And we went to the romper room, which is in the back of the building. And here it is, we were listening to this guitar strumming, and the kids were singing to us a welcome song. Which I didn't really expect. And you know, when you hear those voices and the song that they were singing, I just couldn't stop crying. I mean, my tears were just pouring, and I was laughing, and at the same time was crying, and I felt so embarrassed with all the other people, because my face was just so much with tears, you know. And then after that, after they presented, they gave us a chance to take pictures. And here is Danny Santos, who was taking all these pictures. And I was so frantic getting my pictures, you know, taking pictures of these kids who were so excited. They were trying to cling to us. My brother, you know, this little girl was just hugging him and didn't want to let go. You know, they were just so craving for love and touch. And that's actually what Danny Santos was telling me. Is that when you go in there, you'll see these kids, and they're just going to be clingy with you, and it's just okay. And then finally, Mama Mary, which is the wife, came out, and she started telling us all these stories. And then we were looking at the big room, how it's so organized, everything was just in place. And they were started to share us about the lives of these little kids, you know, like this little girl who was clinging to my brother, Emerline. She said, you know, there's three of them that we picked from the mother, and it was actually the mother surrendered them to the DSW, with the social worker. And Emerline was just a tiny little baby, like about 2 months old. But she had been in hospital for 9 months. You know, they picked her up and they had taken her to the hospital, and she was very, very sick. The 2 other kids were another sister and a brother, and the sister was only like about 3 years old at that time. And she said, you know, this girl, if you look at her, she was so molested that we have to kind of really separate her from the group. And had her some therapy, because she was so sexually molested by different people. And the little boy was also like kind of like staring. And he said it took a while before these kids are the way you see them now. Before they were just doing all kinds of things. There were some kids that used to climb on the walls. They would climb in the walls. There are some kids who would just sit in a corner and just, you know, they have to give them some special therapy. And looking at them so transformed is just, you know, it's just like, what am I crying about? You know, I am so blessed. These kids came from carton boxes, you know, some of them came from those Pinatubo families, the refugees from the Pinatubo volcano that 10 years ago. They came from that kind of family, and they were still, a lot of them are still living in little carton boxes in where they live. So it's amazing how they came from that point to what they are now, where they're singing gospel songs. And I saw their notebook, how they write very nicely in their notebook, English. They're using the homeschooling method. I don't know, she was telling me about, if you tell Brenda about the method
I
that we
know.
have,
Yeah.
it is a very good one.
Yeah,
and
that's
he
good.
said, at first they were bringing them to the public school, but then the public school, there is like a ratio of 1 to 80. And the kids were not learning anything, so they decided to put them in the private school. So you see them learning the Bible, learning the Word, and half of them are in the honor roll.
I know. I heard.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
so we ended up going second time, and I went to another mission, which we have a lot of classes and medicine. So the second time I went there, we visited. We brought some sacrifice and eggs, and and the iframe for the kids who need glasses and some medications, and they were just so thankful just for that. So the second time, after we spoke to you, the interview, the couple were still saying, we're still not sure whether what they're gonna decide. So please pray for us, and all that. And my brother too, who is a strong member of the APO fraternity and Kiwanis, he wanted to be involved. So I think it makes a big difference when you see the cause that you are helping out on. And you see the people, you look at the eyes of these little kids. Then you'll have more meaning to what you want to do. Last January, I was telling Brenda, I said, I need to focus. I need to just concentrate on what I'm doing. I can't be all over the place. But when I saw this and what impacts it's doing to them, and how generous impacts was with the Philippine orphanages, not only in this, but even from before, based on the story of Danny Santos, how impacts is so generous. I said, there's no reason for me not to. I'm just so stuck with it now. I don't have a choice. I was driving this evening, and I said, well, the thinking is gone. I just have to start doing.